Hey everybody, welcome back to Habitat Kitchen. I'm Andrew Beauchamp, and once again, we are back with another Squash Month video. This is a heart of gold winter squash, a mixture between acorn squash and a sweet dumpling squash. I personally believe this is the prettiest squash I've ever seen. So it's white, and then it's got these green vines coming down, stripes, that whenever the squash turn more ripe, they turn orange, and you can see on the other side all the orange stripes. And from what I hear about it, it is a sweet, nutty, very flavorful squash that mashes very well. You can also use it in stir fries. Today we're gonna make a puree out of it, and I'll show you what we're gonna do with the puree later. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is cut our squash up. Now that we have our squash all cleaned out, cut in half, I'm just gonna cut it into smaller pieces so it cooks a little faster. You're gonna wanna lay your pieces out on a pan and just drizzle with some oil. Just a little bit of salt and pepper. Then we're gonna rub the outside, make sure the oil's all over your squash. Skin too. Now I'm just gonna put them in a 400-degree oven for about a half hour to an hour, or until really soft. Now these squash can technically be served as is. This would make, I think, a very nice side as well, but we don't wanna do that. We want to make a puree. So I'm just gonna take off the skins, and they pretty much just peel right off, and then we're gonna just throw it into our food processor. It really doesn't take much because that's pretty much already mashed up. Of course I have my paddle here. Yeah, that's already very smooth. That is a basic squash puree. But no, we're of course making a squash pizza. So I need to flavor this a little bit. I have about 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Just like that. A few cloves of garlic right in there. That's roasted garlic. If you don't have roasted garlic, you can just add 2 cloves of fresh garlic. And then I have about a tablespoon of salt. Sorry, teaspoon of salt, not a tablespoon, teaspoon of salt. And then some fresh cracked pepper. I'm gonna blend that up. Let's give that a taste right there. That's so good. I don't know why more people don't eat more squash. That's phenomenal. So I have a pizza dough crust. You can use your favorite pizza dough. I'm using the recipe I shared on this channel. I'll post that video down below. I'm going to spread this pumpkin puree, or squash puree rather, over top of our crust. And don't be afraid to build up this layer of squash. And now I just have a few toppings. I'm going to start with some broccoli teenies, but you can use broccoli. They pretty much taste the same. Very thinly sliced red onion. And then last ingredient, this one's kind of optional, but I'm going to add about a good handful of chickpeas. I did quickly run my knife through them and chop them up a little bit just so they sit a little bit more flat after baking. And because I want my pizza to have a nice golden crust, I'm just gonna brush the edges with a little bit of oil. I'm going to put this into a 450-degree oven for about 10 to 15 minutes, or just until the edges are nice and golden brown. Okay, that looks freaking delicious. After it's cooled down a lot, you can just sprinkle with a little bit of fresh parsley. Yes, my pizza cutter is the USS Enterprise. It's here to cut the pizza. Now let's give it a bite. This is so good. if you have leftover puree, this also goes fabulous on toast. You know, skip the avocado toast for a week and use the squash puree. It's cheaper and it tastes so good. You can sprinkle a little bit of sriracha on it, maybe a few sesame seeds. A must try. This recipe was delicious. Thank you guys for coming along with me on this one. I had a blast. I think I found my favorite new hors d'oeuvre to have whenever I have guests over. Till next time, guys. Cheers.